power, worst case scenario, wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening. Welcome to the planning meeting for this coming Sunday, May the 10th, which will be our trial run of what it's going to look like when we basically come back the 17th. I say basically because the guidelines are suggesting and saying anybody that's really, really old or really, really young or marginally sick should stay home. And that's our recommendation as well. Church members who are watching, please sign in because I'm going to need your help, specifically need your help this Sunday. I have cherry-picked who I have asked to be here this Sunday so that we have a demographic of the whole congregation, excuse me, a large family, some singles, some couples, some older, some younger. It'll be a normal church service from your end on the camera at home. It'll look perfectly normal. But there will be people in the building. But the things that we need to observe, how do we get people in? How do we get people out? Be COVID safe, entering and exiting, and while we're in the building. Anything somebody touches, sneezes on, coughs on, that is all contaminated and would need to be cleansed. We're going to have to get used to having church in a way that we absolutely, positively are not used to doing. We just come in and have church and go home in the past. Well, now we can't. Things as simple as opening a door. Well, somebody just touched that door. So our intentions are, while we're still in all this COVID-ness, the church doors, the entrance doors, will be blocked open. And you'll just simply walk in and come in the building. And those of you who attend, the front entrance, the door that has the steps, that is going to be the exit door. The door in the hallway between the fellowship hall and the sanctuary, that is going to be the entrance door. We will have a table set up in there with hand sanitizer. And one of you who are watching tonight, I'm going to ask one of you at least to have a sanitizing dispenser, and you'll run the button. You'll hold your hands out and you'll put the hand sanitizer on it. And that way, you know, they aren't touching all the buttons, and now we got a button that needs sanitized. I mean, I don't know if you saw that commercial on TV. The guy goes in the restroom and he sanitizes the knobs, and then he touches the paper hanger. So then he had to wash his hands again, sanitize that, and it's really hilarious because when the whole thing was over, he laid on the floor crying because he realized how difficult it was to sanitize everything that he touched. And those are the things that we have to really think about. We're going to ask that you bring a mask, wear a mask, and while we are in the building, those sitting out in the congregation will be wearing a mask. 0, no handshaking, no hugging. That's very difficult and hard to get used to. When I'm entering the building, you know, if I'm in the sanctuary off the platform, I'll have my mask on. When I'm up on the platform preaching, I have to take it off. You wouldn't be able to hear me, and I would die of suffocation. So everybody else will be wearing a mask. And we're going to have to exercise social distancing, and that means basically out in the sanctuary, there will be one person on the end of each pew. Then the next pew will have one in the middle, the next pew, two on the end, and then we have figured out designated pews for family units, depending on who all shows up and whatever. You may not sit where you used to sit, and then there will be, we can get about 30 people in the sanctuary and 40 over in the fellowship hall. And while Zane and I are having this meeting with you, Seth is in the sanctuary right now setting up our new equipment. The FM transmitter did come in. He's setting up a projector in the fellowship hall, because tonight when we go to the Bible study at 7 o'clock, you may hear some movement. While Zane and I are doing the Bible study on his phone, he's setting up the normal worship equipment and checking out all the feeds and stuff for the camera the projector that will be in the fellowship hall. We can get 40 in there, and those folks will be watching the service live within the fellowship hall. Simultaneously, we will be broadcasting the same message live at the same time on FM radio, and we have chosen FM channel 87.7. The signal will reach anywhere from 2 to 3 miles from the building. The neighbors, they could tune in at home, but if you live further than that, you can actually drive to the church, park in the parking lot, and if the signal and all goes well, you'll be able to listen to the service in the parking lot. The music part of the service, right now, I'm not sure of, because Alvin and Connie are not coming until June the 1st. I've got to put a call in to Lilliness Music to see if I can get permission to use the CDs we have for the choruses. And if they grant us permission, then we can play that music and sing some choruses together. Don't forget, if you're watching right now, as a church member, I need you to sign in. I am going to need your help. And when we get to 7 o'clock and go to the Bible study, I need you to sign in if you haven't already. As we go through the Bible study, we are in 2 Chronicles chapter 20. So, has anybody signed in, Zane? Mm-hmm. Good. We are used to a normal 1-hour worship service. We are cutting that back to 45 minutes max. Why? We cannot be COVID safe and allow the restrooms to be used. The minute somebody goes in that restroom and uses that restroom, the only way that restroom can be COVID safe is it has to be completely disinfected. And all the talking heads out there in the medical industry are saying you can't guarantee anybody's safety if the restrooms are being used. So hopefully if you use the restroom before you leave home, for 45 minutes while you're here, you should be fine. However, if absolutely positively you can't make it, fine. We've got women's and men's upstairs and the women and the men's downstairs. And if it's just only 2 or 3 people, then fine. One can use one up and one can use one down. And then we've only got 2 that would need to be cleaned. And everybody's COVID safe. Because we are going to have to clean after every service. And I'm going to need some of you to help do that. It's as simple as, most people when they talk, they lean back. They'll put their hands on the top of the pews. While they're sitting, they'll use the pew in front of them to get up and get down. Everywhere a human hand touches, we're going to have to sanitize. Who thinks about sanitizing the light switch? Well, we're going to have to do that. We will not be passing the offering plate. The Sharon Moravian Church gave us one of those Catholic style long stick with a plate on it, offering things several years ago. We will be using that. And those who come to the church and park in the parking lot and listen, we can come out and take their offering there as well. And then separate from this, we are going to have a whole new method for the counters to count the money so that they don't get infected from that. It's not saying that anybody in the church is, but you know, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And what all the churches across the state of Ohio are doing is trying to figure out how can we be COVID safe. And so these are some of the things that we have to look at. And if you have any specific questions, put them in the feed so Zane can see them and he can ask me, and then we'll flesh that out. Because once the worship service begins, we're going to close the entrance door. Somebody will have to stand there with a glove on, and they will open the door and allow that person to come in. And then we are going to have shears on the glass doors that go into the hallway, and they can open that door and let somebody into the service after it begins. Like I said, my goal is to have 20 people in the building, and then we go through the worship service, do the normal things that we normally do, and then when the service is over, you know, we'll have a closing prayer, and we will dismiss, and everybody will exit the building from the normal entrance, the one with the steps out by the sign, and we will empty from the back pew first, then the next pew, then the next pew, then the next pew, then the next pew. And this Sunday, everybody will be instructed to go to their cars and stand there. Then when everybody is exited the building, if it's a nice pretty day and sunny out, we'll come over here and socially distance under the beautiful pine tree beside the church, and we will do a what went wrong and what went right analysis, so that with all our collective minds and all of you seeing, because what I'm wanting you to watch is where somebody innocently touches an article. We make sure we clean that. And anything that kind of speaks to you, hey, is that really a good idea when we think about this COVID environment? When I was a kid in Scouts, we used to play a game called Nuclear, and there was a bucket that had a nuclear radioactive bomb in it. And the game was you had to move the bucket from one place to another without touching it. And the group that got it there the quickest and the fastest without touching it won. So in a sense, what we're going to be doing Sunday is playing a game of Nuclear as we examine how do we come in the building, how do we act and react as we worship when we're in the building, and how do we leave the building and be socially safe. Kurt Honecker is my vet, and those of you that followed the feeds all day long, you saw me tell you the story about going to my barn to feed this morning at 7 o'clock and seeing my Pasofino horse, Trey, standing in the barn, and it looked like his eyeball was gone. His eye was swollen about that far out away from his head and about that big around. And I went in and looked, and it looked like he was looking back in a giant cavern. He has black eyes, and I couldn't tell if I was looking at the eyeball or looking at the back of the socket in there, but it just looked exactly like he had lost his eye. Flesh hanging out of the opening. It was a horrible, ugly looking sight. Well, the vet didn't come tonight until a quarter after 5, and it took me all day to catch him. Normally I can hold the halter open and Trey will stick his head right down in it. Because his eye was hurt, he didn't want touched. And so finally I just stood up beside him and talked to him like I'm talking to you, and patted him on the side, and I held the halter out and he stuck his head in it. But when the vet got there, it was a whole new game. And praise be the Lord, and you can type in the feed, praise the Lord, 0 eye damage. No damage to his eye whatsoever, it wasn't scratched, everything is fine. In fact, by the time the vet got there, the swelling was down, and his eye looked good. And here, you know, cause and effect. We just figured he poked his eye. And when I put the halter on, it felt like there was a whole bunch of mud in his hair and his mane. And any of you that are horse owners know when you let them out, first thing they do is they go roll in mud. And I thought he just had a bunch of mud on the top of his head, right behind his ears and down in his mane. Here we come to find out something, we don't know, a bug, an animal, something bit him right here. And here he was trying to scratch that itch, and what looked like mud was serum from the wound coagulated in the hair. And the eye was simply collateral damage as he tried to scratch that. So thank the Lord, praise the Lord, his eye is good, and I thank you, those of you today that said, hey, you were praying. I really appreciate that. So as we come to church this Sunday, everything is going to be different. And if you are willing to help, go to the comment line and tell me you're willing to help. Because as I said, I need somebody on the doors, I need somebody on the hand sanitizers, somebody to direct the folks who come in where to sit. And families can sit together, husband and wives can sit together, but that will change the layout so that we are 6 feet apart. And the same thing over in the fellowship hall. And then when church is over and we have this what went wrong and what went right, that we do an analysis so that when we all come here on the 17th, we know what we need to do to worship safely. But we are now in phase 1 of returning to normal. You saw I put out a story today. What is normal? What does normal look like? There's phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. During phase 1, and there is no ending date of phase 1 right now. All these churches around the country are being asked to do the same thing. If you're elderly and infirmed, stay home. If you're really young, that is a child of probably 6 or more and under, stay home. If you are already sick with anything, stay home because your immune system is down. Stay home. The very first Sunday of our Facebook Live feed sermons, that very first Sunday, the week before, I made the announcement, hey, next Sunday, we're starting into this new COVID environment. And if you're those 3 things, stay home. 1/3 of the congregation was out. So the church is recognizing, while we're going through phase 1, there is still a full 1/3 of the church who may not or cannot be here to worship. So now we have 2 opportunities for you to do that. The normal Facebook Live feed like we have been doing, and the FM radio 87.7. And if you are in those 3 classes, very old, very young, or marginally sick, you could come and stay in your car right here on the property and worship with us. You could be part of the fellowship. The only thing that we wouldn't hear is your amens from way out there in the parking lot. And we wouldn't, unless you were on your cell phone and typing the comments, we wouldn't do that. So we're asking you to help. And if anybody out there can play the piano, play the guitar, play a musical instrument, and you're willing to do that, fantastic, because we now have a streaming license. So we can literally sing any song in the hymnal and not have any copyright issues. I'm just going to couch that bet by calling Lilliness Publishing and see if they will grant me permission during this COVID to use the chorus CDs that we have. And there's some really easy and simple choruses that the folks here in the building can sing, because something we have to think about. Every time we touch a hymnal, there's something that's contaminated. So probably the best thing for us to do is for me or Darla or somebody to pick the choruses that we're going to sing the next week, and then we make photocopies of those, and you use them that Sunday and they're thrown away. Then we don't have to worry about that. So there's another wrinkle that I just thought of right here, right now. Zane, has anybody made any comments or have any questions about what we are going to do Sunday? Has anybody volunteered to help?
No, but there have been people that said they're praying for you and your horse.
Cool. Well, I need a little more than you praying for the horse. Seth and Zane are going to be tied to the cameras and stuff Sunday. So we can't do this alone. You know, and if nobody helps, will the 17th happen? So a couple of people have already volunteered, but you know, we're in this together. We need your help. We need your cooperation, because this whole thing about worshiping and being safe, we want people to come, but we want to provide a safe place for people to come and worship and go home the same way you came. I was an HR director for 25 years, and I would talk to every new hire, and especially every maintenance person, about safety. And the maintenance guys especially, about electrical safety, hydraulic safety. And I would routinely say this: we don't want anybody going home in a body bag. And in a sense, if some one of us contacted another person who didn't know they had it, now we don't know we have it, and we come to church thinking, hey, I'm good, everything's fine, and no, it's not, because we're actually carrying the virus, we could innocently spread that across the whole congregation. If you've been following my feeds this week, my Uncle Everett, we buried him Saturday, and at the time he died, out of 85 residents, 3 had died. Here on Wednesday, since Saturday, now a total of 13 residents in that same nursing home have died of COVID-19 in less than 9 days. So anybody that doesn't take this serious is basically saying it doesn't matter how many people I kill, I'm going to do what I want. So we need your help. We need your help to run sanitizers. If you have hand sanitizer, put it in your purse or in your pocket and bring your own. And we all come and we worship and we have socially distanced fellowship. I had a meeting with the general superintendent of the Church of the Nazarene this week, and she told me that Saturday she buried her father. he was in a nursing home out in Oregon. And everybody that's in nursing home right now, they have been basically sequestered for 8 weeks. Nobody allowed in. They have been denied their families, love, and human touch for 8 weeks. And patients are dying simply because they feel totally alone and nobody cares. And the district's general superintendent said that her father will probably be classified as a COVID death because he died during the COVID time frame, but he actually died of loneliness. And pray for me because of that very issue. I'm thinking about taking my mother out of the nursing home that she's in. And Darla and I are kind of running a little scared. Can we take care of her at home? She's losing weight. She's wanting to die. And if she continues not to have human stimulation from her family, she will. And so probably in all likelihood, one day next week, I'll be bringing my mother home, which means I can't take her back. While this COVID's going on, I can't take her back, because if I take her back, she will have to be in isolation for 14 days. That's nobody. That would kill my mother. So thank you for praying for Trey, my horse, today. God bless you. But I need you to pray for my mother. I need you to pray that I make the right decision. This concludes our May 10th trial run. And if I don't get enough help, anybody volunteering on the other side of the camera, I'll make some phone calls. Because we need to do this trial run this Sunday so that when everybody shows up on the 17th, we can have worship. And we can do it like we've pretty much always done, only a little bit shorter, 45 minutes. And that everybody can leave here as safe as when they came. We're going to move equipment because while you and I have been having this meeting, Seth has been setting up his equipment so that we will be prepared to do a normal broadcast. He's going to be filming this. It's going to go to his personal page. We're going to be on Zane's phone tonight for Bible study as we have been. And that way he can get all of the normal Sunday stuff tuned up and ready to go. Because yes, there's going to be people in the building, but 1/3 of the congregation still can't come. And we are providing worship to everybody that wants it. God bless you, and we're probably just going to let the phone stay on and roll, and we will go out and set up. So enjoy the juggling ride while we go into the other room.
What do you think when we start back in church? What do you think of this as our setup?
I talked to Ruth Ann the other day, and I said, how come I made Seth a Steelers mask and then it makes Jim
I don't know
one?
how well they can see me.
Where did you make it?
I'll have to try it.
I think gray with red.
Green evaluation.
That's the
I
new
said,
camera, by the way.
because I just had a bag of scraps and started cutting them out.
really
Melissa
clear.
called me and asked me if I could make him a Steeler one. I said, I'll have to look and see if I have some material. And I found some material
So,
downstairs.
Sit there so I can see
I
how
said, I thought more.
we look, because last week we was too far away.
What,
Mary's, we're in the same kind of
what
vein
channel?
of
87.7.
envelope, small with bubbles.
Yeah.
And Mary got hers, and they live a mile apart, and Ruth Ann's came back for,
What was it?
said I owed $2.40 more.
Oh, jeez.
87.7.
So,
When Zane and I did the trial run, there were 4 stations on each side of that were blank on the dial.
Does he start here?
Yes, we're starting Bible study
So,
here in just a second.
Okay. Darla, 87.7 on your FM dial.
Okay.
she's gonna try and see how far.
What just happened
Yeah.
there?
See if you can go up past Fred and them. And
yeah.
I'll go over here and put this
so,
on yours, Seth, you want?
Yeah, it's on mine.
we still good? Am I still pretty? Zane's smiling.
Well, there's that.
Sure.
Seth just about died of choking on his own tongue.
Something.
We are in 2 Chronicles, chapter 20. And we are going to begin with verse 4. And as you recall, we left off on verse 3 last week. You didn't have to plug in, Zane?
Yeah, but I got it.
Well, you're going to have to lift the phone up. We're going to have to jiggle the phone a little bit. Zane's phone battery is about to die. So, this is learn as we go. You got to get it centered in that little groove. I'll tell you what, Zane. For the purposes of the Bible study, let's go out of this live feed. You folks on the other end, because we share this Bible study with others in the meeting that we just had, I don't necessarily want you to share that. It's us preparing what we need to do for this coming Sunday and the 17th. So to make this a clean break for Bible study and sharing that with our friends about Bible study, we are going to stop this feed, and it'll take Zane a couple of minutes to fire it back up. So all of you that have been with us, just give us a little bit of grace, and as we come back on, you come back with us. So, okay, Zane, shut down and we'll start.